What's good, my YouTube family? Alex Moore here, back again with another video. Thank you as always for tuning into the channel. If this is the first time you guys have been here, welcome. If you guys are returning, welcome back. Go ahead and follow me on Instagram at realalexmoore_. I am getting a lot more active over there these days, and that's the best place you guys can reach me at when I'm not posting on YouTube. I got a very special video for you guys today, something that I really don't talk about on YouTube as much as I should. Shout out to my boy MJ. He's one of the consistent people who comment on my vids. He actually commented on one of my recent vids saying he wanted a little bit more insight into what I do as an MLO, or just provide a little bit more content around being a mortgage broker in general. You know, on this channel we do a lot of just talking about self-improvement, self-development, but I thought it would be nice to share with you guys at least part of what I do outside of YouTube and my regular 9 to 5. I did become a mortgage broker about 9 months ago, I want to say, somewhere around 9 or 10 months ago, around the summer of 2024. The reason I had decided to do that was really just because I wasn't quite sure what direction I wanted to go in my life, but I wanted to get into some type of real career. I had constantly been in positions where I had a good job but got laid off, or the job just wasn't the right fit for me. It was a toxic environment, whatever the case may be. It just always seemed like in my working career up until that point, something had always came up. I always had dreams of getting into real estate in some type of way. I didn't know if that was me being a realtor, or you know, me just owning real estate, or being some type of real estate investor, but I always did at least know I wanted to be in real estate in some type of way. My girlfriend actually has a best friend whose dad is a mortgage broker. He's doing amazing. He's making well over 6 figures, been in the business for almost 30 years now, and his daughter actually talked to me one day and said, "Hey, I think you should talk to my dad. I think you might be a good fit for possibly being in the mortgage industry. Like, just seeing your personality, knowing how you communicate with people, knowing that you like to bring value and help others however you possibly can, this might be a good field for you to go ahead and go into." So she ended up setting up the call with me and her dad. I ended up talking to him, letting him know a little bit about myself. He was like, "Hey, go ahead and pass your test first, because you have to get licensed before you can even be a broker. It's not like you can just wake up on Tuesday and say, I want to be a broker and start applying for jobs. It doesn't work like that. You have to take a course first, and then you have to go ahead and pass an official test after that." Once I took the course, once I passed the test, I was able to go back to him. He saw that I was serious. And he was like, "Hey, I can go ahead and put in a word for you at brokerage that I work for." And he was saying, "Hey, this isn't something we typically do, but since I believe in you, I do think that you can actually succeed in this business even though you are a rookie. I'm gonna go ahead and see what I could do about getting you on at this company." So that's exactly what he did. So I was able to get in at a very reputable company, but this is something that most rookies aren't able to do, and I see why. Because this journey definitely has been not a smooth one so far, and a lot of it just has to do with inexperience and not really knowing what I'm doing. But I'll get into that a little bit later in the video. Anyways, once I got into the industry, I did end up getting a real reality check. I was somebody who thought, you know, once I'm in the business, within my first 90 days, I'm gonna be making $10,000 a month. It's not gonna be hard for me to get clients. It's not gonna be hard for me to close these deals. I'm gonna be just able to talk to a realtor here, a realtor there, tell people, "Hey, if you're interested in buying a house, let me know so I can go ahead and find you a loan." But it didn't work like that. Like, I had to figure that out real quick. And keep in mind, you guys, I was doing all this while still working at my 9 to 5. So being a mortgage broker, you pretty much just get paid off of the loans that you close. It's not like I'm getting a salary or a set paycheck every 2 weeks. And I didn't have enough money saved to go ahead and just go in full time. So I was trying to balance, well, I still am trying to balance working my 9 to 5 and be a broker, which is really difficult itself. But the first thing I had to do was realize, like, I'm not gonna be making the $10,000 a month as quick as I thought I was. I'm probably not gonna be able to quit my job in the next 6 weeks the way I thought I was going to. And that took me a long time to realize. I want to say that it took me probably 3.5, 4 months to understand actually, like, hey, this is a long-term game. Even when you do get a loan or two that you are able to close, you're probably still not going to be able to just up and leave your job. Like, you know, especially since you don't have savings like that. That was a problem. Also, I didn't realize how hard you had to grind at first. Like I said, I thought maybe you just have to, you know, speak to a realtor here, tell somebody here, "Hey, you know, here's my card. I can go ahead and get you a great loan. I know interest rates is kind of hard, but come mess with me. I can get you a better rate than everyone else can." But it didn't work like that. So It took me a while to realize I was not grinding as hard as I needed to, and I thought that clientele and just everyone was just gonna fall into my lap. And I got punched in the face real quick and realized that's not the case. Like, you have to go out and build yourself up. You have to build your business. You're literally starting from ground zero, and you have a long ways to go because you're competing with people who have been in the business 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. A lot of these realtors, they already have lenders, brokers that they already tend to go to. So just because you go to a realtor and say, hey, I can get your buyer a great loan, you should go ahead and work with me, it's not like they're just gonna say, okay. They probably already have someone. So like that was something that took me a while to understand. Like, man, I'm going to these open houses, I give them my cards, like I send a message, nothing happens with that afterwards. And I had to realize that there's a lot more that goes into it than just that. I didn't realize that the work that you're putting in as far as going to the open houses, sending messages to people on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, cold calling people, whatever the case may be, I didn't realize that the work that you're putting in for that right now, you're not gonna see those results for 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, possibly even 12 months. This is really a long-term game and not a short-term game. And I struggled with that in the beginning, just thinking that it was gonna be a piece of cake. Like, I remember just talking to my coworkers at work and saying, yo, like, I'm gonna be out of here soon. Don't worry, once I'm making all this bread, like, I'll throw you a little something. Like, joking, not doing it in an egotistical type of way, but just saying like, yo, I'm gonna throw you something, or I'm gonna get you that new phone. Like, just playing around, because I was just acting like I was gonna make a bunch of money. But after some time, it was like, all right, I gotta figure this out, because clearly me just going through the motions, it's not gonna get me the results that I wanted. The biggest thing that I realized from that is just understanding that I need to grind way harder. I need to figure out how I can bring more value to people when I come across them, and I need to actually build relationships instead of just saying, hey, you need to go ahead and work with me just because I can get you the best rates. It doesn't work like that. Just the overall grind and just realizing that this is a long-term game was probably my biggest takeaway. I had to understand that this really is a business, and you need to have a game plan on how you can execute this. Same way you have to have with YouTube or with the gym or whatever. It's not something that you can just up and choose and decide Monday you want to lock in, Wednesday you don't lock in, Friday you lock in again, Saturday and Sunday you take off. It doesn't work like that, bro. The next thing I realized was just how important educating yourself is. I talked a little bit already just about, you know, you have to take the course, you have to pass a test, and you're officially licensed, but what you do pretty much has nothing to do with what you learned during the course or taking the test. Like, that's pretty much just to show that you are serious, and they can weed out the people who aren't serious in wanting to become a broker or a loan officer. In reality, you don't know anything. You don't know as much as you think you do about FHA loans, conventional loans, USDA loans, VA loans. Like, you don't know much about that. You don't know much about people's debt to income ratio, what people can do to improve their credit. There's just so many small things that you honestly have no idea about. And if you don't know these things, that could really cost you. I don't think I realized how many people you're gonna come across who don't have the best credit, and you have to figure out how you can get them a loan. A lot of times these people may get rejected for maybe not paying one of the previous loans they've had in the past, going through maybe eviction, or just having some negative, real negative red flag on their credit report, and they're looking to you like, how can you get them into a home? And they don't understand a lot of what's going on the back end, and that it's not just as simple as saying, hey, that happened 2 years ago, so you're good now. It's like, no, that's on your record. Like, it's not just as easy as just, okay, you've had good credit for 6 months. No, a lot of these things matter as far as what your previous history is looking like. Is there a plan that we need to put this person into to repair their credit? Like, maybe they don't qualify for what they want right now, but in 6 months they will qualify. So it's like, okay, now I have to make sure I'm still building that relationship, because they might not be qualified in January, but come July or August, they might be qualified. So I need to make sure that they're doing everything that they need to do. I need to make sure that they trust me and don't want to go ahead and just shop with someone else to see if they can get approved. Like, it's a lot of just small nuances that you have to learn that's not necessarily taught. Same thing with like down payment assistance programs. That's huge. The amount of people that are gonna ask like, hey, what's a program that could help me out? I don't have too much money, but I wanna buy a home. How can you help me with this? And if you don't have those answers, a lot of times people are gonna look at you like, you know, you're not really an expert, or you don't really know your stuff the way you should, or you don't know, but I'm gonna go to John who can give me an answer just like that. It's important to be up to date on everything going on. It's important to be up to date on what the current interest rates are, where things are looking to head. It's important to know just what's most important to your client. That way you know, okay, are they more concerned about having the lowest interest rate possible, or just having the lowest mortgage payment possible? Or like, it's a lot of small things that people don't really talk about that you just need to know. You have to be able to listen very well as well and pick up on certain things that people don't tell you. Because a lot of times people say, oh, I don't have any debt, and then you hear them say something about child support or just something that's like, wait, you didn't mention that before, and you have to pick up on that, and you have to be able to just mark that way you're qualifying for something that's correct. You're not saying, hey, I can go ahead and get you this home at a 6% interest rate for $1,500, but you didn't even factor in that they pay child support. You didn't even factor in that they still have student loans, like other just random small things. So the education is really, really huge. And if you could just lock in, and if anything, while business is slow in the beginning, if you can just educate yourself and take the time to read on what's going on in the country with rates, take time to learn just about different programs, especially in your state. Even just take time to figure out, okay, well, if it is slow, do I want to niche down maybe and actually just help a certain group of people? Like, do I want to go ahead and help people get a VA loan, or do I want to specifically help maybe younger people become first-time home buyers? Like, that's something that you can always do too in your free time. And I think that's something that I probably struggled with a little bit, was not realizing that you can always niche down and pick like a certain community or group of people specifically that you want to help. I think for me, at least so far, my group of people has probably been first-time home buyers, just because, you know, I am recently a first-time home buyer myself. I do know a little bit about what that experience is looking like, and I understand it can be scary going through that. You can think, oh dang, maybe I need all this money, or you know, how am I going to be able to come up with all this? So for me, that's kind of a little bit more relatable. And so that's a little bit of the audience. I am open to everybody, but I do kind of relate to people, you know, who are in their early 30s or mid 30s, or finally coming around to buying a home, just because I can relate a little bit more to that than maybe somebody else. The next thing I want to talk about is having a great support system and networking. This is something that I struggled with, and I've just recently started to get a lot better with this, just because for me it was hard, because my mentor, the one that I talked to you guys about before, who's been very successful in this business, he lives in Florida. I live in North Carolina. I don't work at a branch or a firm where I'm just seeing people every single day. I work at home. I work my 9 to 5, but I work on my mortgage business from home. I didn't have a big support system for a long time, and that really hindered me, especially because being somebody who's brand new, not really knowing too much, not really knowing where to start, also just being nervous because you're starting something new, it was really frustrating for me. It took me a really, really long time to feel comfortable posting on social media, you know, going out, networking with people, adding people on Facebook, or reaching out to other mortgage brokers. But once I did that, things started to change big time for me. I didn't know where to start, so I even messaged the broker who had worked with me on getting my house, you know, and we had never met in person before, because at that time I lived in Georgia actually, and he lived in North Carolina. But he seemed like a cool guy. He was always there for me to answer any questions whenever I used to call him up and ask him what was going on with my home, or what did this mean, or what did that mean. He always explained it. So when I actually called him up one day and told him I had became a broker myself, he was saying, hey, like, we can always get together for lunch. I can give you a few tips, whatever the case may be. So that's been huge. So I've at least been able to connect with somebody in my city who is successful at what he does, and that's been great. Also just started going to more networking events, stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit. It was so cool because actually at my church I go to, they have certain groups that you can join, and I actually joined a group that is connected around just networking with like-minded individuals, and just young people who are in their career, either looking to make a career change or figure out how to advance in their career. And ironically, when I joined that, I met 3 different realtors and a credit repair specialist in that in that group. And so that was huge for me as well, just being able to build my connections up a little bit, speak to them, you know, see how business is going on there and learn a little bit more about that. Out of those 4 people, I really connected with one, and me and her talk pretty consistently. You know, we might go out to lunch here and there, and she'll just tell me about what's going on the real estate side. I'll go to her about what's going on the mortgage side. She'll ask me questions. She has already started to refer some people to me, and I've done the same as far as referring some people to her. So just building up those relationships is huge, and you never know where you're gonna meet them at. I remember one of the times my group that I'm in actually hosted a meeting through the Urban League. At this event that I was at, I actually connected with another realtor who ironically works at the same job as me. Like, that's crazy, and I had never seen this girl in my life. But she was like, hey, where do you work at? I told her the name of my company. She said the same thing, that she works there. And I'm like, that's crazy. And so we happened to bond about that, and she happened to be a brand new realtor herself and was actually able to refer me to her parents who were interested in buying a home. Now, we didn't end up actually doing business, but just the fact that she thought about me and we had already established enough credibility and was able to relate to each other was huge. And that's why it's just so important to network with as many people as possible, build your community up as much as possible, have a good support system around you, because nothing is worse than feeling like you have to do all this alone. It can really make you feel like you're not going to succeed. It can really make you feel like, what is the point of you doing this? You're already not seeing results. You see all these other people who might be doing better than you. What is the point of this? Just going to those events and stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit and just really helped me as far as building up my confidence and just being a lot better speaking with people and just being honest and letting them know that, hey, I am new, but I can get the answers for you that you need. And I did see my results start to increase with that for sure. And that leads me right into my next point, is don't compare yourself to others. I just mentioned that it could be easy when you look and see other people in your company doing better than you. It can be tough to not get down on yourself. That was one of the worst things that I could do, because I was somebody who was constantly, especially at my regular job when time was slow, I'd go on to my mortgage company site, and we're able to see basically what everyone's commission or what their deals or whatever is looking like for the previous week. And I'm looking at people from previously, they've gotten commission checks of $50,000 or $30,000 or even $8,000. And I'm like, man, I'll kill just for $2,000 at this point. Like, I ain't got nothing. One of my coworkers, she used to get on me because she's like, why do you keep looking at these people? Like, your name isn't on there. Like, stop focusing on what they got going on and focus on what you got going on. Until I see Alex's name on there, I don't want to see you looking at this spreadsheet, looking at other people's money. And she was right about that. I can't even lie. Once I stopped looking at other people's money, it made me feel a lot better. Not necessarily in the sense that just everything is gonna work out or I'm just magically gonna get paid, but it allowed me to stop focusing on what others was doing and focus more on what I was doing. And I do feel like that helped me out a lot, just in focusing on myself and understanding what are the tasks that I can do daily myself to see the results that I want. And also, it's important to know that these people that I'm comparing myself to have been in the business for 10 times, 20 times, 30 times, 40 times the amount of time that I have. It's like me being a rookie in the NBA comparing myself to LeBron or to KD or to Devin Booker. It's like, brother, you haven't grinded nearly as hard as they have. You don't have the accolades that they have. Like, you can't come in on day one, in year one, expecting to be where they're at in year 14, year 15. Like, it doesn't work like that. Just put your head down, work for a year or two, and then you should start to see at least a little bit of motion and look back and see, okay, I can do this, I'm making good progress. But for those first 1 to 2 years, like, don't expect to just see the results like that. Just expect to put in the work on a consistent basis and understand that the results are going to come on the back end. But it's not just going to be like that. You're not going to be a 10-time All-Star. You're not going to be a 3-time MVP. You're not going to be a Finals MVP, All NBA. Like, it doesn't work like that, bro. And lastly, what I want to talk about is just enjoying the process, because I definitely got lost in the sauce and didn't enjoy the process the way I should have. Like I mentioned, I was coming out the gates expecting to make a lot of money. I was looking at what other people were doing. I wasn't necessarily connecting with as many people as I should have been. I was just thinking that everything was going to come to me, and that really caused me to not enjoy the process. I didn't enjoy the fact that I was gonna grind. I didn't enjoy the fact that my pockets was still gonna be low for some time. Now, obviously, I think everybody is gonna be unhappy when their pockets is low, but you know, time is gonna pass anyways, so you might as well put that time and energy into doing something to change your situation and not just pouting about the situation. And that was something that I struggled with for a while, but once I did shift my mindset and understand, hey, this is gonna take a minute, like things did start to change. Once I did that and just started putting the daily steps in, like I started seeing results. I started seeing more realtors wanting to meet with me for lunch, go over certain numbers, have certain questions for me about some of their clients and their needs. Word of mouth started getting out a little bit more. People around the community started knowing who I was a little bit more. I started seeing the same realtors at these open houses because I was consistently going out on a regular basis and meeting with these people. And even at work, just telling people, you know, what it is that I do, just networking with people on a fun level, not even necessarily just a super strict business level, has helped me out a lot. I connect now with people all over the country. I went to school with in California. He's actually a real estate agent now in Florida, and although we haven't been able to do business specifically together just yet, it's been great just being able to bounce ideas off of one each other and ask him, you know, what can I do to add more value to these realtors when I do go to these open houses. And just having that dialogue, just knowing that you're helping each other get better even when the results aren't coming in is great. And with that being said, y'all, I am actually working on my first deal right now. It's been a great experience. I feel like I've been there for her every step of the way, just in her buying process. You know, it was crazy how everything happened because she was all set and under contract on a previous home, but then when they went to do the inspection, you know, it turned out that they needed a new roof. There was issues with the air conditioning system, like the house just ended up not being worth buying. And this really hurt my client a lot because she was excited, like, man, I'm gonna go ahead and buy my first house. I really wanted this house, and now that I can't get it, you know, maybe I just need to just wait, you know, and try again in another time. And we did wait for a few months, but then when she was ready, she locked back in and started looking for homes, and I was able to get her a great rate on this home that she's about to move into at the end of this month. We are under contract. Everything is looking good. We have all the documents and just everything already submitted to underwriting, so this should really just be a smooth closing process. And I've done the best that I can to just remain confident, let her know that I'm going to do the best to get everything handled on my end, letting her know that I'm here for her whenever she needs anything. Just being confident in my abilities, not coming off like I'm a rookie, even though I am. I've tried my best to really act like I know what I'm doing, and thankfully I do have a good enough support system now to walk me through the process and help me out with the things that I don't know. And so it's just been a great experience finally being able to see the hard work that I've put in just from 6, 7, 8 months ago finally pay off now, to where it's like, man, I'm finally closing my first deal, knowing that this is going to bring me more referrals. Like, it's just going to give me more confidence. It can be kind of hard when you haven't seen something happen just yet to know that it can happen. And so this kind of just reaffirmed for me, like, yo, Alex, like, you can be a mortgage broker, like, you can be a great loan officer, you can really succeed in this business, and all you need is that first deal before things just floodgate and you go from only closing one deal to you're closing 2, you're closing 3, you're closing 5. Like, just everything is just growing just more and more. You can look back and see just how hard things were in the beginning, and you can really just enjoy those times even more when you do see the hard work finally paying off. It's definitely a business that's not for the weak. It's definitely something that you have to understand is a long-term game. But if you are looking to get into a new career, you do want to be a little bit more independent and work for yourself, it is a great career. It is something that you're going to have to put a lot of work in on a consistent basis when you're not seeing no results. But you kind of have to look at it the same way you look at going to the gym or trying to lose weight or trying to make more money. Like, these things take time. It just doesn't happen overnight. My experience has definitely been up and down one so far, but it's not something that I would trade for the world. And I'm just excited to see, you know, what continues to happen. This is just giving me the confidence that I can do whatever I want in my life. I had no experience on this 6, 7, 8 months ago, yet here I am now closing my first deal. And so I hope that's something that you guys can take away, whether it's with YouTube, whether it's with whatever career you're trying to get into, whether it's with the gym or even just finding a new relationship. Like, don't let where you're at right now stop you from visioning the new reality that you could have in 6 months, in a year, whatever the case may be. That is going to do it for today's video. If you did enjoy it, feel free to hit the like button, go ahead and comment and subscribe. It's Alex. I'll see y'all in the next video. I'm out. Peace.